Being 110 stories high is terrifying. Being 110 stories high while balancing solely on a rope, well, that's a nightmare. But apparently it was a dream for someone because it's a true story. The Walk is a film about the wire walker, Philippe Petit, who found fame in the air between the World Trade Center towers. I watched The Walk as many times as Petit walked back and forth that wire, and have broken down and analyzed the editing, cinematography, and screenwriting based off the tools I've learned while taking contemporary cinema this semester. The film begins by using the technique of foreshadowing, having Petit explain his goal to walk between the towers before we even know who he is. I think this was a good choice for this film because it keeps the audience excited for what's to come. They also do this again a little bit by showing Petit's discovery of the towers before going into his childhood and how he became a high wire artist in the first place. I don't think this nonlinear style really benefits anything, but it does give importance to the towers and how important they are made to be in this story. In films where actors have to portray an artistry that they can't actually do, such as dance or any sports or activities, the editing can be a little bit tricky, but this film does really well with cutting between the feet and the face and full body shots to make us feel like Joseph Gordon-Levitt actually could be doing this. And of course, the special effects do help. The film does a good job also at keeping only important details with many quick cuts so that the scenes aren't dragging on for too long. Unfortunately, it breaks the rule that many editors try to abide by to seem seamless, but nothing pulls you completely out of the story. The film material is also very serious, intense, but the editors tried their best to make it playful, which many non-fictional stories do miss out on. The music is very light and fun, but you know things get serious once the music stops, and there's a little bit of a halt in Petit's plans, such as the scenes where the tower entrance guard stops them, and everyone's a little bit nervous that he's going to ruin everything, and then again with the elevators when they don't think that they can get up to the rooftop. There are some fun transitions that they use, such as the popular newspaper transitions seen in films like Harry Potter and so many others, where Petit is arrested and gradually the scene becomes a photo in the paper for the next scene. Another fun transition used was when it shows the crate in Petit's apartment and then the surroundings change to come inside of the van. These tricks add some excitement and fun to the story. The editors also wanted to make the towers important in the film, and they wanted to kind of create this film as a happy memoriam to the towers, and so they used that as the last shot of the film, which I thought was very important. They say that the most important thing about cinematography is the story, and although this is a non-fictional drama, it is about an entertainer. Introducing us to Petit with cheerful music and circus-like performing set a pretty good mood for the beginning of the story. They decided to do this in black and white with a little bit of color, and I think this drew some importance to little things that we would have not noticed otherwise, such as the candy that sort of sets the story in motion, bringing him to the dentist where he first sees the Twin Towers, as well as the cops, which kind of give us an idea of Petit's rebelliousness within his art. Robert Zemeckis may have stolen this idea a little bit from his mentor, Steven Spielberg, who used it more famously with The Schindler's List. Zemeckis seems to kind of avoid symmetry at all costs with his film, which is a little bit funny since it is focused primarily on a rope, which would be a straight line for some perfect symmetry shots. There was one scene that he did use a bit of symmetry where he framed the shot with binoculars, which was a pretty cool idea for it. Most of the film is shot with cool blue coloring, which feels a little bit different for a historic film, especially set in the 70s, where a lot of the colors were warm browns and maroons. I think Zemeckis might have decided to do this to bring out certain aspects that he used in accents that he used in the film, such as the red rope that Petit would hold up, as well as he had a red turtleneck and there would be some red accents in the background to sort of bring those out. I noticed that a Steadicam was used probably throughout the entire film. It's made up of very long, wide shots, and because of this, there weren't very many close-ups. If they did have any close-ups, they would pan out into a medium shot without very many breaks in the scenes. The decision to use so many wide shots may have been due to the knowledge that this was going to be a film shown in IMAX theaters. In our textbook flashback, they did note that there is a huge importance of technology in Zemeckis' films, which may have put a lot of focus in making this film cool for 3D. He really took advantage of the CGI and showing heights and using them as scare tactics. In this case, the script was perfect for this type of film, and Zemeckis' love for technology really did bring it to life. There were certain scenes that I did feel like were a bit unnecessary that may have been only put in so that he could play around with this, such as the nailing of the coffin and imagining them falling in the shaft, and the wire breaking also towards the end of the film. It added some excitement and drama to some slightly boring scenes, but they were also some of my least favorite scenes in the film. The screenwriting in this film may have been the weakest link in my opinion. I didn't like that it used so much narration. I'm a big fan of showing and not telling, which this film didn't seem to care about. The narration is poetic and beautiful, but I did wonder throughout the film if these were lines taken directly from the book that it was adapted from. Flashback states that one of Zemeckis' biggest flaws is his inability to trust the audience, which he also used the narration tool in his film Forrest Gump. And although some of the scenes it was nice to know what Petite was feeling in the moments, a lot of it was annoying as if somebody's talking throughout the film and you want to tell them to shut up. I did love the decision to have a fluent French-speaking cast so that the dialogue felt authentic to the setting, and when there was English, they had the excuse that they were getting ready to come to America. I was a little bit confused with the character Jeff, who was said to not know English, but then in the end of the film, he knew all his math in English, which didn't really make much sense. Other than that, everything felt very accurate. Much of it I didn't even believe until after I watched the film and I Googled it, and a lot of it really did happen. The story was well structured, which can be a little bit difficult with biopics, and as Ron Shelton said, you're having to tell the artist how big their canvas is, and we have to fit Petite's whole life into these 2 hours for the film. But they did it very well by showing Petite learning the specific skills that he needed to get through that walk, such as tying the knots and arriving, and as well as concentration. After analyzing the editing, cinematography, and the screenwriting of The Walk, I appreciated the work put into it so much more. It met my expectations and may even have exceeded them. I can't say that it was Robert Zemeckis' best work, but it was cohesive and definitely deserves some recognition for his great directing.